and I wouldn't want to speak for other people. I know I've seen examples of people who've come through this, like William and others, but those are actually, from my experience, are the exception, not the rule. Most of the people who've gone through these schools are totally crushed. They're not able to talk about it. A lot of them end up taking their own life or dying at a really young age. The vast majority of people are not going to get justice out of this. This is the bitter kind of reality, is that most people are crushed and broken by this. But for me, that's all the more reason to talk about it, to say, okay, it's for those people that we're doing this, and for the children who never came back. I mean, nobody speaks for them. You know, what about all those innocent children who died? Are we going to just pretend that it never happened? I mean, it demeans ourselves if we don't take responsibility for that, right?
Yes, it does. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when the Prime Minister, made the apology,
yeah.
What has transpired from that point forward?
Well, the apology was really limited. It basically said, we're sorry for the residential schools. He didn't go so far as to say they were a wrong thing to do. He just said, we're sorry for the impact on your life. And he made vague reference to children not coming back, but they didn't give any steps about what they were going to do about it. Because at the same time, he said in the same speech that it was a government responsibility, which was a total lie. These schools were set up by the churches. They were maintained by the churches. The government often wanted to close residential schools, but it was the churches that kept them open. And yet the churches are totally off the hook. They're not being held liable legally for any of these crimes, including the deaths of children. They're not even, they don't even have to identify where these graves are, which you think would be the first thing they'd have to do.
Yes.
And yet they're totally off. So apology is fine at a word level, but it hasn't really played out in action. Over half the